What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Trophy Chasers Podcast, Episode 12. We've got a pretty good show. We're going to be talking about the Wolf Among Us. Episode 3 just got released. We've got Lego the Hobbit to talk about, and a few other things. So, quite a few news stories. It's going to be a good show. So, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Thank you for checking it out. Got the full crew here today. How you both doing?
Doing well, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to have glad to feel like the oddball out with Nick with a full head of hair. Look, in charge. Yeah, I'm doing good, man.
Good to hear. How about you, my guy? Everything going good with you?
Don't really have any real complaints. The number one movie in the world is what it should be, so all is right with the world as far as I'm concerned.
What we're talking about?
The number one movie in the world?
Yeah.
Captain America.
That's the number one movie in the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had no idea.
As far as box office goes, it's over 300 million worldwide.
Gee whiz.
Wow. So is that the best-selling movie now? I didn't know it was breaking records. I thought you were just saying that off of like personal opinion.
Oh no, it's fantastic personal opinion, but it's broken the April opening weekend record for the U.S. and still not sure like as far as what it's going to be paced to do at the end of its run, but I'd see it probably doing 800 million worldwide.
Wow.
I didn't know Cody lived outside of the U.S., so like 3 or 4 weeks ago he told me that Captain America was great, and I thought the movie came out a month ago.
So did I.
But I've heard nothing but good things about it. I just haven't gotten a chance to go out there myself.
You know what I've have heard, and you can speak to this, I guess, later on, Mike, is that the actor for Captain America apparently is burnt out already.
No, it's all he said is that, and everyone with clickbait, with all the clickbaiting that goes on in media, regardless of what form it is he said that after his contract's done, he wants to focus on directing, and he said in a live interview that he would still like to do stuff with Marvel, and but he's going to basically step away from his primarily acting and focus on directing, but he would still like to do work with Marvel.
Awesome.
I guess yeah,
cool with that.
Burnout playing 2 different characters.
See, I'm freaking out. I'm such a noob. What's the other character, Flip?
Johnny Storm, a while back.
He played Johnny Storm?
Yeah.
He did.
Chris Evans, I think, has played the most different amount of comic book characters recently. He was a character in Scott Pilgrim. He was a guy in The Losers, and I think he had one more in there. Oh, he was fantastic in Captain America 2, Cody. He is the embodiment of Steve Rogers. But I think he played one other character I just can't think of outside of Johnny Storm off the top of my head.
Gee whiz, man. But the dude just puts a brand new perspective on him getting buffed up. My. If you think about Johnny, anyway, all right, I'm done.
Before we get into all the PlayStation talk, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. Just became official as of, what was it, like, I don't know, sometime this week.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, I don't think we're talking about the same thing. Anyway, I got in contact with Child's Play. During this past week, I'll get into more detail of why I've been playing this game, but I got back into playing World of Warcraft, and I've got a Child's Play event scheduled. If you go to the event calendar, April 30th, on the childsplaycharity.org, you can view the details there. I'll be doing a 24-hour live stream with we're trying to raise some money for Child's Play, so pretty excited about that. There'll be more information as we get closer to it, but I've got 20 days to get ready for this, so very excited about that. If you want to swing by the stream that day, we have a lot of stuff planned. Should be a good time. And if you want to donate to Child's Play, help out the kids, be very much appreciated. So just wanted to throw that out there before we start the show.
Awesome. Yeah.
Support it.
Pretty excited. Introduced to a brand new way to help people, man. I was actually excited, Flip, when you introduced me to it, man. Didn't even know it exists. So I'm super excited for supporting it.
You never heard about Child's Play?
I haven't, man. It was a brand new thing to me.
Cool. Yeah, they're
very awesome.
They've been around for a while. I think once a year they do like a huge, like a game-a-thon, I think is what they call it, where they get a bunch of different people to almost like running a race where you like have people like quote how far you run and they pay based on it's like that, but they do it by hours for gaming. They do that like once a year. I tried to get in on it last year, but I wasn't able to.
So let's fall out and faint on the floor, all for a good cause. I'm ready. Not this year, but maybe next, right?
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get into what we've been playing. We all played The Wolf Among Us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good. What'd you guys think? Without getting into spoilers, of course.
Probably, outside of the introduction, for me, the introduction on the first episode, this is by far, I think, the most tight, fluid, like action-packed episode that I played. So by far my more enjoyable. And when I say action-packed, I don't mean, go get them, buster fight, but it was just there was just simply no downtown for me for this one. So this was just a joy. It seemed like I was playing it for about 15 minutes. I don't know if it's technically shorter, but gosh dog, it didn't seem long at all.
Yeah, I did in about an hour and a half. So I think, like I said last week, or with The Walking Dead, they just seemed to be getting shorter and shorter. At least this one wasn't boring. This one was entertaining the entire time. But they are getting shorter.
We disagree there, sir.
I felt it was longer than the last installment of The Wolf Among Us, but it does feel like it is definitely getting a little bit on the shorter side. I definitely enjoyed it story-wise, but I don't know how your guys' experience was with it on the technical side of things. I'm getting a little burnt out of Telltale releasing the games that just like in previous installments of either The Walking Dead or this, like I've missed out on sections of dialogue because of frame rate issues, and it's like they need to figure that out, because this has been, that's probably my biggest issue with it, and the biggest takeaway that would take anything away from the experience for me.
This is the first time where I haven't had any of those issues.
Wow.
Yeah, I was.
That's pretty impressive that you
all the footage, and in the past episodes, it's been hard to kind of edit that out to make it look like it isn't terrible. But this time, I had no problems at all through the entire time.
So let me tell you about my problem. Is it that Bipsy? What's the monkey's name? The green monkey.
Bumpkin.
So
Or Buffkin.
My first playthrough, Bumpkin had a white eye, just like Grim. And I thought, oh, something happened with him, and maybe I don't remember what it was, but he was missing an eye, and so after my entire playthrough, he's missing an eye, and I figured, okay, I guess I'm going to find out at some point who did this. Maybe it was Crane or whatever. Mm-hmm. On my second playthrough, to clean up the whole frog thing, I realized his eye came back and it was a glitch. Yeah. So
now that you mentioned it, I had something like that happen to me in this most recent episode, because I remember saying that when I was doing the stream. I was like, what's going on with that guy's eye? I don't remember who it was, though.
Well, so my guy, what you're saying is spot on. I think it's 100% accurate. I think I'm used to it, so I'm not offended or thrown aback when I do come across those technical issues. It's a shame because I expect it, right? And maybe I shouldn't expect it, but I guess from a Telltale perspective, it's good for them, right? Because I'm not discounting my enjoyment because of it. But you're absolutely right.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I kind of phrased the question like I did because from what I've heard from other people that have played it, just like various Telltale's games, that it's like it's not an across-the-board problem. Some people have issues with it, some don't. From what I understand, I think PCs normally never has an issue. Xbox has issues. PlayStation 3 has issues. And it's very hit or miss for the people that actually have the issue with the game, where 2 out of 3 of us had it, Flip didn't this time. But, next time it could be reversed, or, they could go for the hat trick. So you don't know. And that's the thing that bothers me. It's one thing if it was either across the board or it wasn't there at all, just a few spots here and there. But the fact that it's it can be so noticeable at times that it gets detracting from the game.
It's never been that big of an issue for me. Usually it's like in the transition from one scene to another, it's just like a stutter where I can tell that it's going on, but it's not like I've never missed out on dialogue like you're saying, so I've never had it that bad.
See, it's like I've had it where it's like I said, I've missed out on dialogue. You know, like I'm catching up at the tail end of a choice of a conversation piece, and it's, you know, we shouldn't. You know, we hold other developers to higher standards with what they come out with, and Telltale's no excuse. It's either they need to lighten their workload a little bit and solve these issues. If these were the first couple of games out of the gate, I'm fine with it. But these are the same issues they've been having that you can go back to and trace it to some of their early games.
You know what's interesting is that none of their work is labor intensive. We're not talking about fantastic data here that's being downloaded each.
Associated graphics are hard to work with.
Right, all those 638 megs of data, right? But yeah, you know, it's we'll see. You would expect it, though, right? So this goes back to the original theory that you signed on with a couple of weeks ago, my guy, that Flip presented is that, hey, you know what? Maybe they're stretching themselves too thin, and but you would expect, right? This is their third iteration, their third major release game, that some of this little basic stuff will get cleaned up. Let's just hope that it doesn't bleed into the Game of Thrones.
It's just weird that this wasn't evident in Jurassic Park and it wasn't evident in Back to the Future, but it started with The Walking Dead Season 1, Episode 1, and it hasn't stopped.
See, I've only played some of the first chapter of Back to the Future, and I've had the issues in Back to the Future.
I played it on the disc, so that might have been part of the reason why.
And like I played the Season 1 of The Walking Dead on the disc and still had the problem, and it's just it's hit or miss, like who has the issue. It's like getting online with Battlefield 4 on PS4.
Hey, I've never been able to do that, guys.
Yeah. That big giant shark out there.
It made me almost want to download the digital copy of Battlefield 4 all over again just so I can experience it, but I resisted and I made it through my weak moment. However,
you probably get booted from the match after 5 minutes. So.
Oh boy, that's going to become a trend now going forward. Any game that's 3 or 4 months post-release is going to have some type of flip that the switch that they flip that's going to release Tyrannosaurus Rex in the map, and everybody's going to run out and buy it.
Well, Call of Duty got Predator, so...
Call of Duty does have Predator. You're absolutely right. And they have little small aliens from outer space. Yeah, so...
Before we get too far away from The Wolf Among Us, I thought it was pretty cool that me and your predictions, DMC, most of what we said all came into play in there.
Soothsayer. All right, so...
I don't want to get into too much because I don't want to spoil
it.
We'll talk about that more in detail in the spoiler cast. But if you've watched the previous spoiler cast... pretty much everything we said was spot
on. So if you guys want to know who's going to win 2017 Super Bowl, just holler at me. I'll tell you.
He's going to pick the Washington Redskins. But they'll already be like 4 quarterbacks away from RG3 by that time.
Ixnay to that conversation there, my guy.
He's already broken.
So what else have you guys been playing this week?
Well, let me just say this. That I had a plan, right? I had a plan that I was going to come back and knock home runs out of every park in the major league and get about 4 or 5 trophies of platinums this week. But coming off of
RBI baseball, okay.
Well, you know what? I was going to play. I was going to be hyped for RBI baseball until I saw that those guys were at least 3 feet high, and totally bust my bubble. I'm used to those folks being about 1.5 feet high, looking like little round balls, and they don't look like it looked when it was on the NES, and so I'm not excited.
I saw that too. I was expecting like pretty poor graphics, and it looked pretty close to something that you'd come to expect from one of the major companies.
Just disappointed me a little bit. But coming off of Dark Souls 2, I felt like I didn't need to have anything I needed to have joy in my life, and as a result, I said, you know what? Let me play Destiny of Spirits. Right? Flip said it was pretty awesome, and he said, hey, I'm out here, man, and I got a friend request on here reserved for you, in which I sent him a friend request and he never accepted. But this game is free to play done right. Let me tell you how good it is. number one, I have a thing, and I'm going to cut this really short, where I refuse to give money to folks who ask me for additional money just to play their game, just to continue to play. Destiny of Spirits doesn't do that. So I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to set a budget. It's so nice. It's so good. I'm only going to spend $20 on it, and I'm going to have fun with it. Well, $40 later, I realized I better stop putting money into this game, right? But anyway, really, really good game. We can talk about it later. Awesome game. Very, very light trophy list. No platinum. Joy to play. I think I'm about 3 trophies away from 100%ing it. And the last trophy. I'm sorry?
It's going to be quick.
It is. You're absolutely right. There's 2 major grinds, Flip, and keep me honest on this. One of them is you have to beat the battle. No, you have to max out at least 100 characters, right? And so maxing out a character is pretty much of a grind all by itself. So that's a big one. The other one is just more of a commitment, right? You have to log on to the game 30 days in a row. Right? On your 30th day.
In a row, and I missed a few days, and that's why I haven't really gotten back into it.
Well, that does suck. That just ruins everything, doesn't it?
Yep. I was going strong for like 9 or 10, like almost a third of the way there, and then I missed a day and didn't realize it was in a row, and just haven't gone back to it since.
They need to fix that, though. I think as long as you do 30 days, I think it should just be continual. Did it skip when you logged back on? Did it skip the day that you missed?
It just started over at 1.
Did that sucks.
Well, it seems like the UI changed too, because it used to show like 1 through 5, and then when I came back, it was like 1 through like 20, and it showed
yes.
And I don't know if that reset it. Maybe I don't know.
Anyway, so that's what I've been doing, man, for a whole week, and I'm probably going to be doing it now for the next day or two until I move on.
Cool. Anything else you've been playing?
That's it, man. I started a little bit of Sound and Shapes. Really, really, really intuitive. Not familiar with any of the artists who actually created some of the music tracks. Had a buddy of mine come over the weekend, and he was sitting down playing with it. He wasn't familiar with the PS4, mulling over to get it. So he started playing Sound and Shapes. It was like, oh, wow, the graphics, they look like the PS3. I'm like, well, that's not really the basis by which you want to judge that. And but he said, oh, I know this group. And he was just digging the music hard. He was just cutting through each one of the albums. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was pretty impressive, that he could just pick up and go. And then, yeah, man, and then with really slow week for gaming, man. I guess that's what happens, man, when you just have your life enveloped by one game, right? Can you speak to that, Flip? I know your life was enveloped by one game for a very long time. What about you, Mike?
It's been a slow couple weeks, but to quote JR, business is about to pick up as far as games go. But the mostly just been getting reacquainted with The Last of Us multiplayer, playing that, playing some Warframe, and then of course I took the dive and got Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends, and that has become the bane of my existence. It has hooked me like it always does, like it's done the past billion times. Because Lord knows they can. And next year they'll come out with Dynasty Warriors 8, Awesome Extreme Legends, Super Complete Edition. I'm pretty sure I'll pick that up too. But
volume 2, yeah, Awesome Extreme Edition.
If you like Dynasty Warriors games, it's fun. It's a great game. I think they've been doing a better job in the newer entries of actually making the weapons feel different. Instead of a sword feels like a shorter spear. The weapons have a little bit of a different feel to them. They've got a pretty cool mode called Ambition mode in it that lets you do successive missions in a row to kind of like extend your time limit and get bonuses for people to kind of join your group, to build up your base, all to get the Emperor to come side with you. So I've been enjoying playing that, and
awesome,
just kind of...
Is there a co-op component to it?
Yeah, there's online multiplayer. Pretty much every mode offers online on it. So I think my highest leveled character is up to 62, and anyone that plays Dynasty Warriors knows Zhao Yun is the best character in the game outside of probably Lu Bu.
Lu Bu. Do they still say that, Micah? When
Of
Labu
course.
enters, okay, awesome.
It's the same story that's been there for 70,000 games. It's like The Land Before Time. Unfortunately, that franchise ended movie wise, but this is one franchise that hopefully will never die.
It'll never die. I was so tempted to buy that when I saw it on sale.
I almost got
Is
into the
it-
game. I was thinking about playing it, and then I saw the trophy guide and saw it was a huge grind. Like you said, you've been playing it all week, and you have one character to 62. You said?
Yeah.
Heard you need to get like 8 characters level 80 at least to get like their ultimate weapons or something. I said it looked like it was pretty intense.
It doesn't take too long to get a character up. It depends on the way that you go about doing it. The main reason I've probably got about 10, 15 characters that are level 20 plus, and you can easily get them up that level just by playing through the story mode under one of the 3 kingdoms. Everyone in the kingdom will level up with the character that you're playing on for each story mission.
Okay.
So it really doesn't take that long to level up. It's just a matter of going that extra mile of the level up, wherever you finish the story mode at. And there's some reasons to go back and redo the story mode. I think I've maybe earned like 3 trophies, but honestly, this isn't something I play to care about trophies on it, because this is just pure enjoyment for me. It's not a game I'm playing for story. It's just I'm playing for because I can kill a 500 guy standing on a bridge, and more keep coming. And you gotta love you gotta love games like that.
Cool. This has been an easy week, I think, for everybody.
Yeah.
So, Flip, what about you, man?
So I started off, like I said at the end of the last show, I had finished the first of the 3 endings in The Witch and the 100 Knight. And I think I said at the end of the podcast that I had about an hour or 2 left. And turns out that was like 15 to 20 hours left. I don't know, that game never ends. Like, I've been playing games for a while, and I can usually sense when I'm getting close to the end. I'm sure you guys are the same way. You play through a game, you know the last boss is either about to come, or you're fighting him and you know the game's over afterwards. Like Infamous, you knew it was ending, and then boss fight. You might have thought there was a little bit more because you just got your last power, but you had an idea that the end of the game was coming.
Yes.
So I went into The Witch of the 100 Knights after the podcast and went through an extra level, which I thought was the last level because I went to this huge level, had this big epic cutscene. They brought back some other characters. Like, oh, this character's behind the whole thing. That's crazy. I would have never expected that. So you fight that character, defeat the boss. I'm like, finally beat the game. Yes. And then they throw another level at you. And then I go through that whole process again. It's a huge level, thinking I'm getting near the end. They bring in another character. I was like, oh, so that character is the one who's behind everything. Okay. Fight that person. Content with it. I'm okay with the ending. I feel like I beat the game. And then they add another level. And then you have like 6 or 7 bosses you have to fight. And then they add another chapter. This game was like eternal. I never thought it was going to end. It just kept going and going to the point where I just didn't even care anymore. I wanted to be done with it, but I was so close to finishing it that I had to keep going. Finally got through it, and immediately went and traded that game in.
With great trepidation. Yeah, please take this off my hands, right?
Yeah.
It was the best whatever money you got back ever.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
It was really, really, really hard, too. Like, I never enabled the casual mode except for that small chunk of the game that I was talking about where I just want to see how much of a difference it made. And it made a huge difference. Like, if you play in casual, I would imagine it's pretty straightforward, simple grind. But you play on the normal mode, and it is pretty difficult. Probably one of the hardest games I've ever played.
Wow. It's a shame that they didn't, it must have been drastic, the feedback that they got back in order for them to have felt that the necessity to introduce that casual mode on the release. Mm-hmm. But if you do that, you have to reward folks. You can't just say, I don't know. I just felt you pushed through it because, gosh dog it, you're just that type of guy, Flip. But so at the end of the day, your platinum means so much more to you than someone else's when they just, probably knocked out the game in half the time with half the effort.
Yep. Because on casual, you barely have to try. You just sit back, enjoy the game, go through the story. The story is pretty good up until about halfway through the game. Like at the end of chapter 6 is when I felt like the game should have ended and had a pretty good storyline. Everything came to a close, and then they just reopened it up and added a bunch more stuff to it. But the first half of the story I was actually into, and then I just kind of lost interest the more we went into it.
Just broke it down.
Yeah. Throughout the entire game, you're playing through, and you'll get like an objective you have to do, and they'll show there's like 50 different levels in the game, and it tells you, puts like a marker on your map that indicates where you're supposed to go next. And during chapter 12, which is like the first section of this, like the true ending, the character tells you need to go like create distortions in this alternate universe that you entered. You have to like go destroy the world in 7 different locations, and she doesn't tell you where any of them are. The only hint you have is you should start at the nearby village. I had no idea what that meant, and they don't tell you anything on the map. There's no clues, no hints, nothing. Just go walk around all 50 levels till you trigger a cutscene.
Oh.
So that was a nightmare. That took forever. But it's over. Yeah.
It's over.
Then I played... after that, I went through basically through the same process you just said after finishing Dark Souls 2. I just wanted to play something. I thought I was going to play all these simple games, get a ton of easy platinums. I just did not want to do. I wanted to play something I enjoyed. Got contacted by an old friend that I used to play WoW with, and that's actually what got me back into that, and that started the whole Child's Play thing. And yeah, so I got back into World of Warcraft, which I didn't think I was going to end up doing. That. Yep.
Awesome, man.
So that's been my week. I played a little bit of Lego The Hobbit. Did you end up picking that up, DMC? I know you said you were talking about it.
I wanted to, and I didn't have a chance to pick it up. What's your first impressions, man? Because there's still a chance I can actually download that thing in the next couple hours. That's what's going on.
I feel like this is probably the best Lego game that's ever came out. But I feel when I started playing it, I like it a lot. If you like The Hobbit, you'll love the game. They have a ton of little inside jokes. If you've seen the movie or read the book, then you'll catch the inside jokes. And the gameplay is really good. It's a little more complex than some of the other installments, but I feel like I just played a Lego game. Like it was 2 months ago we played Lego the movie. And
oh, that's right. You and Mike guy.
Yeah, this is one of those games where each one, aside from the world that you're in and what you're doing, it feels like the same game over and over again. And I'm about halfway through the game right now, and I just was burnt out on Legos right now. So, kind of, I didn't stress it too hard, but I played enough to get a pretty good impression of it, and I think it's a pretty good game. And we also have another Lego game coming out later this year. They haven't announced it, they haven't said anything about it, but I know there's another one coming, and I know what it is too. It's recently, like last month, they started a new Lego toy line, which I was looking for Skylanders at Toys R Us, and I saw this, and then I don't know officially if this is actually a thing, but I'm like 90% sure, because it's the same pattern they've always taken. They have released this line of toys, like they did this with Marvel, they did it with Batman, they did it with Lego the movie. Recently, they came out with like the Simpsons Lego minifigures. There's like a whole series of Simpsons Legos. Yes. So I think sometime this holiday season we'll see Lego The Simpsons.
That's going to be hilarious.
I think Ninja Turtles might come before Simpsons.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's with the new movie coming out, the Lego line really starting to ramp up with them. Because that started too pretty recently also, the Ninja Turtles Legos.
Okay.
So it
could be one.
I know the Simpsons is the newest line that they've started. But it's I would almost think Turtles before Simpsons, but you never know.
Maybe they're trying to appeal to a larger audience rather than just kids, and they're trying to go with Simpsons. I don't know.
It would be awesome. It would be awesome if it's Simpsons, and then there'll just be a whole bunch of Bart Simpson fart jokes. And that's what I want. I'm looking forward to that. We'll see, though, man. That's awesome. Well, you know what? I'm glad to hear that The Hobbit's good, and maybe that's the new thing for me, and maybe I'll be into that in the next couple of days. I still have Sounds and Shapes in front of me, enjoying that, enjoying the whole death mode that everybody keeps on talking about. I've already been warned. No, I haven't. I haven't finished all my albums yet, right? So I have my albums that I got to get through first for the one trophy. Then after that, you have about, I think there's 10 or 15 different structured music elements that you have to present, and you get a trophy for each one of those. And then you have your death mode, 20 death mode levels, and I think Flip, you mentioned that, hey, you got to just push through the death mode. It's going to be a pain. It's kind of luck based, and my guy was like, "Hey, you get just death mode. It's a little tough. You got to push through it. It's going to be tough, you know." So, and I think I was on a forum, and somebody said, "Yeah, just you got to be patient and keep on trying with death mode, right?" So, really looking forward to death mode.
Yep, it's a lot of fun if you can get past the frustration.
Yeah.
For the tutorial like training at Beat School, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I would just go to a trophy guide and look at the images and just put the notes where you're supposed to.
Yes.
Otherwise, you get nothing out of it, even if you don't do it that way, and it will save you hours if you just use the guide.
Thanks for that. And that's I saw that as well. I think there's a map for each and every single one of them. I can't imagine having to figure that out on your own. So, no, I will be using the guide, and look forward to talking about my adventures in Sounds and Shapes Death Mode next week.
So there's a guide for the death mode for Sound Shapes?
No, not for the death mode, for the Beat School. So there's like 15 or 16 different courses that you have to go through, and those courses require you to map notes in certain places but using certain instruments. And for each one you complete, you get a trophy for it. And so ideally, if you went through that on your own, it could be literally hours and hours and hours and hours of you trying to figure out how to put this thing together.
Basically, they just give you a beat and you have to replicate it.
Yeah, so you use the guide, you get done with the entire thing 30 minutes, right? Is that about right? You just replicate it, go to the next one. Mm-hmm. There's a trophy for each one of them.
I care really more about something for death mode.
rather than scroll through everything. But, yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No,
I wish there was a guide for death mode too, right? I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that Witch in 100 Nights easy mode for death mode. I'm so looking forward to this thing, guys. You both saying something, the whole world saying something, and I'm just ready to just be laid flat on my back when I get to it. So it's better than me going into it thinking I'm just going to kick butt, right? So yeah.
It's going to be tough. You'll want to pull your hair out at times.
I don't have hair. I have an advantage.
You have to pull that beard off.
Oh, dang it.
Well, that's everything we've been playing. There are a few other releases that came out for this week. Like I said, we got Lego The Hobbit, PS3, PS4, and Vita. The Vita one looks really similar to the Vita version of Lego Marvel, how it's a completely different game, cut into smaller chunks, like little 3-minute levels. It looks like there's like 36 of them. I haven't played it, but from looking from the trophy guide, which has there's more trophies on the Vita version than there are on the PS3 and PS4 version. I think that's weird. Anyway, separate trophy lists for all three of those games. Digital, we have The Wolf Among Us Episode 3, $4.99 or free with the Season Pass. Strike Suit Zero Director's Cut for the PS4, $15.99 PlayStation Plus or $19.99, which I was really looking forward to that game. That was on my radar. I was excited for it because I thought it was just like your basic shmup. Like you have a little spaceship and you go through the level, which is basically what it is, but it's like a first-person version of that, and it looks like it's, I don't know, it's not what I was expecting, and haven't picked it up yet. It looks beautiful though. The game looks great. There's also RBI Baseball 14, which I expected Mike Guy to jump all over.
It's not the show, so I only play the officially licensed product of Major League Baseball.
And for some reason, Sonic Unleashed showed up on the PSN store.
I saw that. I saw that earlier today.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time it's had a digital release where you can be like I forget what they call that. He turns into a werehog or something because it's like something actually existed, and it's another terrible Sonic game.
Don't say that.
I looked at the trophy guide just to see what it was, see if there were trophies for it, because I'd never heard of this game before. It said the difficulty was like a 9.2 out of 10, and it said it takes 40 plus hours to get through it, and it's extremely skill and luck based. I was like, okay, we're not playing
those
that
those are the two, literally, folks, the two words that scare me the most, in combination with respect to going for a platinum, is skill based. Now, by itself, I'm cool. I'm good with that, because that's just That's just me just drinking a cup of coffee, walking outside, taking a breath of air, coming back, and then getting through it, right? But when you combine skill based with luck, I lose it. I completely freaking lose it. And it's one of the reasons why we talked about this about 3 or 4 episodes ago about Little Deviants. I want to throw the freaking thing out the window. Maybe almost break my. I cannot stand that. There's a few other games like that. We talked about it with Catherine, right? Going up the pyramid, and at some points, you have to have a combination of skill, which I get, and I tried to memorize a lot of the formulas and the patterns, but the luck piece destroyed me. So when you mention skill plus luck, 9.5, haze to the no. I will never play Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah, well, wow. Way. I thought it was weird that they're re-releasing these really old, because that game came out in like 2008, so I don't know why they're releasing these old games on PSN, because next week we have Cartoon Network Punch Time Extra Large or something like that. Same price point. I don't know why they're doing that. Yeah, I think it's weird. Anyway.
You gotta start somewhere before you slice it by 75%.
I don't care about the price. I'm just confused why 6 years later they're releasing these games.
Cash grab.
I think because I know in the beginning not everything got a digital release, so it might just be adding to the digital library.
I don't know. Anyway, that's it for this week. Things to get excited for next week. We've got Conception 2, Children of the Seven Stars on the Vita, which is a RPG inspired by... Nope, that's a different game. Never mind. It looks interesting. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Conception 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
It looks pretty cool, though.
You know what? I do know. There's a demo out for that right now, isn't it?
I don't know.
There is, I think, and I've been meaning to download that and take a look at it.
Well,
Micah, have you played it? Micah, have you played it? The demo?
No, I just know what the game is about and its reputation.
What's it about? Explain it. You probably, I don't know much about it.
Basically, it's they censored it for the U.S. because basically, I don't know how it fits into the mechanic of it. This is kind of what it's known for, is that you're rubbing girls. I think you're rubbing their clothes.
Game. That's something
else.
It's
not. Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because it's. I know
all I heard was that you're rubbing girls.
Yes, there's one game, and it's. Every time I heard that one talked about, it was talked about with Conception 2. So, that's why, I just kind of mashed the two together. So, don't think that's Conception 2. Basically a porn stripping game on the Vita.
It's Monster Monpiece is what you're talking about.
Yes, that's the one.
That game is it's like a trading card game. Similar like Magic the Gathering or something. I guess more similar along the lines of like a Yu-Gi-Oh type thing, is what I get from it when they explain this game. But the monsters that you use are really scantily clad women, and in order to power them up, you have to rub the Vita screen, and it removes their clothes as you're playing. It's so weird. It's not coming out to the U.S. though.
It is.
Oh, it is. I thought it wasn't.
Yeah,
that was back in January when I heard about it.
Because it's every time I've heard about Conception 2, I've heard about Monster Monpiece, and I know they said it's being censored, from the Japanese version.
Because right now the tagline for this game is Monster Monpiece, rub your Vita, see naked girls.
That definitely won't be the tagline here.
It'll sell millions.
Yeah. Anyway, so Conception 2, not what we're talking about, comes out next week for Vita. It's some sort of RPG. Looks sort of interesting. We also got the retail release for the PS4 of Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, and Trials Fusion. Trials actually gets a retail release now. This game actually looks really cool. I don't know if you played Trials in the past, but this one looks pretty awesome. And then also that Cartoon Network game we were just talking about comes out digitally. And Borderlands 2 gets its 5th Headhunter pack, the Sir Hammerlock versus Son Cromarax.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the final piece of DLC for Borderlands 2. We have more Borderlands 2 news. Not really Borderlands 2, but Borderlands news to talk about here in the news section very soon. So
Yay.
We're supposed to be done with Borderlands 2, but we have not gotten back into that. We need to do that sometime. Finish that up.
Yeah, I'm ready for some happy shooting, getting killed, and left behind. That game is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Can I just say, I'm very disappointed with RBI baseball. It looks absolutely horrible. I want my little round baseball players, you know? I want my slow pitches. I want my little, I want them all to like Cartman, like they used to be back in the day. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't have anything to say. Cody was just talking about Aliens Colonial Marine and how atrocious it was. I agree. Yes.
It was made by Sega.
You know, so the EU sale went on, and that's apparently a really cheap buy now in Europe. So I'm hoping that same sale materialize. I was hoping it materialized this afternoon here in the US, but eventually when it does come, I'm going to jump on that. If it's atrocious and grindy, I'll stay away. But if it's atrocious and within 20 hours, I'm ready. I'm ready, Cody.
The multiplayer is grindy.
What?
Yeah, and it's probably impossible to find enough people to play. So I don't know if you can boost it with like a small group of people. If you can, then I'll get on it with you because I'd like to finish it up. But the multiplayer, the way they presented it before it got released, looked epic. It looked like this amazing Aliens game. Everyone's really excited about it. And then the game came out, and the graphics weren't the same as in the trailers. Certain like monumental scenes from the trailer weren't in the game, and the final boss fight was. You know what? I'm going to spoil it because it's not that big of a deal. At the very end of the game, you have the mother alien, and you're getting ready. You're pumped. You're ready for this big fight, and you go up and you press a button, and the button shoots the alien off the ship, and that's how you kill her. That's it. That's the game. That's the final boss
awesome.
fight.
But the question is, do I get a silver trophy for it? Did I push the button at the right time? But a grind. So how long do we think the multiplayer is? What's the grind for the multiplayer?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I can look it up though. What's £4 translate to in dollars?
$5.75.
Is that true? Do you know that off the top of your head?
No. It should be around $6.99.
Okay.
Pounds I thought was like had a much higher crazy value than dollars.
It does. It shouldn't be twice, but it used to be you just add 0.25. But I think it's changed.
Anyway,
£6.
Thanks for the filler. It says 25 to 35 hours with 10 or 9 multiplayer trophies.
Wow. There's got to be a way that we can grind that. We gotta. All right, my guy. We need you on the case, man.
I'm not. I won't touch that with the 10-foot pole.
No.
Sega hasn't made a good game since the Dreamcast days, so.
There you go, Cody. Pick up that Ni no Kuni. That's fantastic. You should have picked that one up.
Yeah, my favorite game. I've actually. It was on sale for $9.99 on PSN probably a couple of months ago. I forgot which. I don't know if it was the Valentine's Day sale or whatever it was, but hey, I was darn close the first time. Awesome.
Yeah.
$5.55. I bought that for the sole purpose so my daughter can fly around on the Purple Dragon. Ni no Kuni is forever going to be now my new childhood favorite game. You know. So anyway, awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Except it came out 30 years too late.
Except it came out 30 years too late. You're absolutely right.
All right. So, we were just talking about Borderlands. We'll start with that in the news. Borderlands 2 comes to Vita May 6th. I just saw the release date this past week. I don't know if we've talked about it before, but comes out May 6th is the official release date for the Vita. So,
yeah, I'm gonna bypass it since we're enjoying it on the PS3, and I think I've heard some folks say that the translation to the Vita isn't as crisp as they would have liked it to be. But you know what, folks act like the Vita is the lead platform for all platforms, as if it somehow has to match the upper echelon graphical prowess of the Xbox 360 and the PS3. It's a freaking handheld, and it's the most sophisticated handheld in existence today, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty tired about the slack that it gets, but it's pretty awesome that a high-powered game like Borderlands 2 is making its way across.
And then in more exciting Borderlands news, we got Borderlands the pre-sequel, which takes place between Borderlands and Borderlands 2, announced for PS3, being developed by 2K Australia, not Gearbox this time. So hopefully it doesn't get the same treatment as Aliens Cloning Marines, because you know what happens when Gearbox outsources their products. Anyway, this tells the story of the rise of Handsome Jack. I guess if we would have played our Borderlands 2 playthrough a little bit further, we're really close to one of the bosses that has a pretty prominent part of this game. His name's like Wilhelm. He's like a big mech dude. In the pre-sequel, he's one of the playable characters. So
there's a falling out happening.
So that comes out later this year. I think they said the fall. It's coming out for 360 and PS3. They said that they feel like they'd be able to target a wider audience if they don't release it on next-gen consoles for whatever reason. I don't know. We got Infamous that just announced they sold 1 million copies, so clearly that's not true. But still don't have those Titanfall numbers.
No, they're going to keep those Titanfall numbers until, which is this week. I think they released it on the 360.
According to video game charts, Titanfall's right around 1 million worldwide for Xbox One. Based on the numbers of video game charts, I know, like the week after its release, when they put the numbers up, it was just a hair under 1 million from what they had.
I think they were being reported like almost around 600,000 on that first week. But those numbers, I mean, Titanfall's been out for over a month, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait for those MPDs to come out, because we'll get Titanfall. It'll be the Xbox One and the PC release, but it won't have the 360 release. So it'll be a closer comparison of how Infamous stacks up against Titanfall, which I'm very curious to see which sells better.
Yeah.
Okay. Also coming to PS4, we've got Stick It to the Man. Did you guys ever play that?
Did not play Stick It to the Man.
It was a really odd indie platformer that came out sometime last fall, I think. I don't know. I played it on the PS3. I enjoyed it for the most part. It felt like it was a little bit longer than it needed to be, but it was funny. It was humorous throughout the game. I liked it a lot. But that's coming to PS4 May 6th.
Awesome. I'll take a look at it. I know it's I was eyeing it for the Vita, but yeah, anything that I can play on the PS4, I can also play on my Vita, so it's a win-win, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
And Sony just announced yesterday they have a new MMO coming out called H1Z1. Did you guys hear about that?
Yes, I have. Just when I thought I didn't want to have anything to do with the zombies, we get two very, very big announcements, right? And of course, this MMO is one of them.
Yeah, I think the zombie thing needs to just cool off. It's getting ridiculous. Everything feels like it needs to be zombies. This isn't what I expected them to do. I thought they were gonna actually do like a traditional MMO, and this is just like DayZ meets like Rust, I guess. Well, I guess Rust doesn't have zombies in it anymore, but it used to. Anyway, it's not the MMO I was expecting them to announce. I thought it'd be more along the lines of a traditional MMO, but it is what it is. I don't know if it's coming out for PS4. I know it's coming out for the PC, but
it's probably going to. I mean, it's so easy apparently to architecturally port PC products to the PS4. But these games are in development 3 to 4 years before they actually are ready for mass consumption. And about 3 or 4 years ago, very vocal folks who are in gaming, who game, yourself, my guy, myself, we were saying, hey, we're kind of tired of this whole zombie thing. And then something came out called The Last of Us, even though they're not technically zombies, and it just made everybody just take a deep breath and say, zombies are okay again. And that wasn't the point. The point was, The Last of Us was a great freaking game, and it's a great freaking story with great character developments. But I think what folks took out of that, even though it was less than a year ago, is that, hey, zombies are okay.
I would counter your point and say it was the Walking Dead TV show. The sheer interest and fanfare and hype in that is what put that hype into zombies. Kind of like I shudder to even say this name. Twilight did it with vampires, and granted the vampires are being still over-trumped by zombies. I don't know what I would prefer now. Like vampires or zombies, pick your poison.
I'll take zombies all day over gothy heroin looking vampire addicts.
And
So,
until something like The Walking Dead, which is kind of leading the front for the zombie crusade, kind of falls off the cliff and jumps a shark tank aptly placed in front of Arnold's, then we're going to be stuck with zombies for a little bit, as long as they sell too. So
Yeah, I'm over the zombie thing.
time for mummies.
We already went through that phase.
yes, it is time for mummies.
It's time for it to come back around.
Yes.
Without Brendan Fraser.
I'm ready for mummies.
Also, Atlas is publishing Citizens of Earth, which is an RPG be coming out for PS4 later this fall, and also the Vita. This is another RPG. It looks like they said it was inspired by Earthbound, and it's been in Japan for a while now. I guess it's supposed to be pretty good. It looks pretty cool. But that comes out later this year. Atlas always chooses pretty good games to.
Atlas is awesome, and I'm just sitting here holding every time Atlas releases something to do something good, I'm holding my breath and I'm wondering, okay, when is Sega going to corrupt them? When is it going? And you know what? And the not yet always follows, right? So I got my fingers and my toes crossed still, and hopefully Atlas continues to be awesome.
Sega's already corrupted them.
Don't say that.
Don't know it yet.
Don't say that. I still think that they're somehow their translation group is somehow being fortified and put to great use in some of those awesome Sega games that we haven't seen yet, like Yakuza 5. So we'll see.
I want to play that. I was watching some live streams on it. It looks really cool. Like I said, I've never played one of those games, but watching the live stream I watched of that, the 5th one, made me want to go back and play some of the earlier ones. Just check it out.
It is, yeah. I mean, we're not gonna. I'll end up destroying the show, and we'll end up still talking Yakuza till 4:00 in the morning. Awesome. Can I just say that? Awesome.
No.
Yes, I can. Awesome.
Duh.
Last week we were talking about indie games a lot, and the one I said I was most excited about was Transistor, and it just got a release date yesterday. They said it's coming out May 20th. So it's like Supergiant was watching the show and said, hey, we'll tell them when it comes out. And it's not that far away, so I'm very excited. Supergiant is the people behind Bastion, which was a very, very good game that came out about 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know. Transistor is the same. It looks like it's the same style of game, but it's an RPG this time. So very excited about that.
Pretty.
Yep. Disney Infinity showed like a small trailer that featured Captain America, and I guess they're saying that Marvel characters are being introduced into Disney Infinity. I don't know if it'll be like a second like Disney Infinity 2, if we'll have that, or if they're just gonna do like add-on packs like they have been doing. But all my Disney Infinity characters up there are lonely, and they'd like some Marvel attention.
How did you like Disney Infinity? I don't know if you played it as well, Mike, but so I played Skylanders. We bought Skylanders 2 and thought it was pretty ingenious, right? So it only makes sense that they were going to have somebody that comes back and try to replicate that same magic, and that's where Disney Infinity came in. But how does the game deliver from a mechanics functionality perspective? Is it just as fun? Is it more complicated?
It's less complicated and not as fun.
Oh, well, that sucks on both ends, right? Well, no, it doesn't. It's good that it's less complicated.
Hour and a half. I think the little Disney Infinity figures are way cooler than the Skylanders. They have more detail in them, but the game I played it for like an hour and that's it. I didn't even finish the game, so I don't have a great impression of it. Eventually I'll go back and finish it up, but I wasn't.
But those characters are darn good collectibles.
Yeah, they're very, very.
That's the best thing to say about it, huh? Okay, good, man. I'm glad to know that.
Yeah.
With the inclusion of Marvel into it, it may wind up getting me sucked into it, and I can't fall into that death trap because I don't know. Like I'm holding out hope that we get Marvel characters in Kingdom Hearts 3. Which could be a possibility. They've been very coy about it.
I don't want to see that.
I would. I think it would fit. It would fit perfectly when you've got in the Pirates of the Caribbean in there, and maybe throw in Star Wars, and what Patton Oswalt prophesied will come to pass.
You know what? The Old Republic maybe, but anything that's future always breaks immersion. And I know that a game like Kingdom Hearts, where you have all these different universes colliding, how can you say it breaks immersion? Well, Pirates of the Caribbean is still old world, kind of quasi fantasy, right? So is Star Wars, minus the scientific futuristic stuff. But when you get into those old planets, those are pretty awesome characters. So I don't know, man. I'm never going to play it anyway. But yeah, the Sea Wolverine pop out there.
You're gonna play what?
I'm never going to play Disney Infinity or Kingdom Hearts. The next one, well, actually, I would pick Kingdom Hearts. Forgive me, okay. But I think I would be a little disappointed to see Cyclops.
Yeah.
Sorry, my guy.
You picked Cyclops out of all of them to say, really? You couldn't think of anybody better than Cyclops?
Well, that's who's going to be presented. Think about it. It's going to be Wolverine, Cyclops. It's going to be Storm or Beast. Those are
the ones that would be presented would be,
you're right. You're right.
If you did like Marvel's new big three, it would be Iron Man, Wolverine, and Spider-Man.
You're right.
Would be their big three.
And then Captain America and Thor, because they're the most visible. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I still don't see a camera, DMC. It looks like you're in some sort of dubstep video right now.
Is it?
It's like dropping frames. Maybe it's just on my end. I don't know. It was very weird when you're moving your head just a second ago. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
doesn't want to break immersion.
No, thank you for telling me. That's absolutely right. Very good, my guy. I'll try to be very, very still. It might be the light shining off of my head. I know it's magnificent, the gleam, but I'll just be very, very
It looks
still.
like it went away now. You were just moving your head and it was like twitching out. It was really weird.
Wow.
It looked like you're in a dubstep video for a minute.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I've just got to get some flashing lights behind you.
Never been a part of that before, but now I can say I have.
I don't think I'll be able to handle it if I have Sora next to Spider-Man.
I think it'd be fantastic.
That's gonna be terrible.
Because that's the joy of the Kingdom Hearts, is seeing things you never see mixed together.
And
then you have an Ewok swing into the frame, which it's getting.
Sora drops his key sword, and Spider-Man uses his web to fetch it back.
And then Darth Maul grabs it with the Force and pulls it back. We got too much going on.
Here's your point, DMC, as far as like the mixing and mashing that Kingdom Hearts does. Like they keep the only people that switch worlds are Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Like everybody else, when you go to Little Mermaid stays there. Little Mermaid doesn't interact with Hercules. She doesn't interact with Aladdin. So you're going to these different worlds, and they even, in the first one, going back to it, they even talk about how you're not supposed to mention the other worlds, but, well, Sora's just going to ramble on anyway and talk about it, but they already broke the one no-no they weren't supposed to do.
So, to your, if I can remember, it's been a while since I played either one of the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, but yes, they do enter into these little pockets, and inside that pocket, they play out that story. And so I guess in your example, they would be entering the Marvel pocket and then leaving the Marvel pocket proper.
Like Spider-Man wouldn't team up with Luke Skywalker or Obi-Wan.
Let's hope not.
You know, that would just get boring then, mixing in Star Wars. But that's my opinion. But I would still like to see, because it would be fun to see Donald and to see what they would look like as Star Wars. Imagine the Star Wars characters, and then seeing what they'd look like being imagined as Marvel characters. Can you imagine Goofy kind of looking like Captain America because he uses a shield to fight with? Little things like that are what's neat about it.
That sounds awful.
It sounds fantastic.
No, it doesn't. Anyway, while we're on this Marvel kick, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 had a new trailer that came out this week. Showed off some of the new bosses. In the movie, he'll be facing off against Electro, Green Goblin, and Rhino. I think that's it in the movie. Doesn't Electro played by Jamie Foxx this time?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. Then we got Paul Giamatti playing Rhino. I don't know how that's going to be a thing.
Paul Giamatti can do anything.
No, he can't. He cannot be Rhino.
Yes, he can. He came out and said, like, if there could be one character he could play, it would be Rhino. Like, before he got cast, he said he wanted to play Rhino in a Spider-Man movie, and they got him. And it's Paul Giamatti
He's the smallest little guy I've ever seen.
Is the man.
I don't even
he
like
is one of
tangent.
he is one of the greatest character actors we have of our generation. With the passing of Philip Seymour Hoffman, Paul Giamatti should become a national treasure to make sure nothing happens to that man.
Okay. Anyway, before this gets
My God, in full effect.
Anyway, aside from those three guys, we've got Kingpin, Kraven, Black Cat, and Carnage were featured in the trailer, so we'll probably be having some more boss fights in there with those characters. I didn't recognize anybody else who was in the trailer, but looked like there's some more too.
They're going to have a version of Alistair Smythe in it, who's actually in the movie played by B.J. Novak. But it's so they're going to actually have him looking like kind of like Smythe in the comic. But I'm looking forward to the game. I've enjoyed the Spider-Man games Activision has done, open world. The ones that they've gone away from that have definitely been a drop in quality, in my opinion. But the open world games have normally kind of nailed it right on.
I like the last one a lot. All the ones previous, except for Spider-Man 2, was the previous one that I liked, and then I liked the most recent one. I liked flying around, swinging around New York City, getting all the 700 collectibles. It was a lot of fun. Okay. Child of Light got a price point. Comes out on April 29th, which we already knew the date. We just didn't know the price. It's only $14.99, which I thought was kind of shocking.
Surprise.
Yeah, I was expecting like $39.99. They said it was a budget indie title. Like an indie title with a budget behind it, so that made me think it would be around the same point that like Ratchet & Clank and the Nexus would have gotten.
Mm-hmm. They must want it to really sell, but I hope it's
it looks great.
$14.99. I hope it's at least 8 hours, right?
They said it's 10 to 12.
Okay, that works.
Mm-hmm. It looks really good. Everything about it makes me want to play the game more. The combat systems like Grandia 2. And you use I guess you have like a little AI character that you can control. And you can use this little character to strengthen your attacks or weaken the enemies or stun them or something. You control him with the touchpad.
Awesome.
So definitely get that on the PS4. I don't know how they're going to control him on the PS3, but PS4 is going to be pretty cool. So, and the biggest news we've got for the week, they finally officially announced The Last of Us coming to PS4 in the US. So it's actually a thing.
I'm ready to be
to us for over a year. They said that the reason that they did that was they didn't want people to hold off on the PS3 version until the PS4 version came out, which I think is a little sketchy, but it makes sense.
Well, yeah, right, and that's a logical sense, because I think some folks would have. Well, no, that doesn't make any sense. They could have very easily said that back in November. But anyway, I will be that disrespectful guest and double dip and lick my fingers on this one, man. And I can't wait. And I'm just hoping that a lot of the folks that we ran that multiplayer with jumps on board too. I am ready to play that multiplayer in super clean frame rate, beautiful graphics, and then hopefully Flip and Mike Guy hopefully also have stacking platinums. Looking forward to that as well.
Of course it will. Did you see the box art for this one though?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I didn't either. Ellie looks really young.
Ellie looks funky. And Joel looks creepy. Standing behind her. I hate that whole side profile thing. I don't know what they're trying to show.
Yeah.
I thought the original box art, the outside and the inside was so perfect. To see this other one just kind of disappointed me. No, it really did disappoint me. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I hated it too.
I find it kind of funny. They officially announced it the day before they announced it. I'm playing The Last of Us Online on PS3, and one of the guys on there that I used to play with all the time, he messaged me again. He's like, I freaking miss The Last of Us. As I've changed the language for our viewers at home a little bit. And
Who was it? Like
you know who it was?
Color?
No, Storm.
Okay.
And I brought up to him that I'm like, well, it might come on the PS4. There's a rumor about. I told him it might come out on PS4, and he's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." There's been some rumors about. Then of course, the next day they officially announced it, so I know he's pretty excited about it. I know I'll probably get it, but at the same time, like I'm not as excited for it as I was the first time around, and I would much rather see new games coming out instead of them padding the schedule with remasters of games that we just got. And it's like, granted, I did Tomb Raider, and I know I'm probably going to do this, but I'd rather see new stuff before we start retreading the old stuff so soon.
Yeah. So wonderful, wonderful. I think it's here's my thoughts about it. From a business perspective, it makes all the sense in the world, and I think as soon as because it makes money for the company,
it does,
and we know for without a shadow of a doubt that there is a significant segment of the PS4 population that have never played The Last of Us because the previous console was. And by the way, loving Fliptriq's presentation of the actual cover art for The Last of Us. But those folks came from 360. So they're going to purchase it, right?
But here's the thing: is that I look at it as you're advertising PlayStation Now that's going to launch sometime this summer. We don't know the exact date. We don't know the exact price point and how that's going to work. Now, is the PlayStation Now version of The Last of Us going to work with the PlayStation 4? And I know they said they're going to have some announcements concerning The Last of Us, the multiplayer on it, coming up here shortly. So this is the head scratch for me. You're charging full price for the game when that's going to be, it was looking to be poised to be the big pushing point of PlayStation Now for, as you said, DMC, those guys that have coming over from Xbox. Now, granted, and I know Cody's going to say, I'm in Europe, PlayStation Now still some question marks for us, but you know it's coming. They're working on getting it out there. That's what their plan is. It's not just, hey, we just want to do it here, forget about everybody else, when Europe's one of their biggest markets. But to me, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm more than likely going to get it, but it's can we wait a little bit? If Grand Theft Auto 5 is announced next week for PlayStation 4, I think I'll just walk away now.
Are you okay with Tomb Raider, though? Why is this any different than that?
I was and I wasn't. Like, I bit the Tomb Raider because it's more or less, it was a great game on PlayStation 3. Really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with it. Is more or less, it's something to play. It was more appealing to me than, honestly, Thief was, and whatever of the one or two other games that came out on PlayStation 4 right at that time. And then, of course, they go put it free on PlayStation Plus the next month, which, kind of was a kicker because it's, for me in that regards, I just bought this. It went free on PlayStation Plus. I don't know. I guess maybe my opinion's changing a little bit more and adapting a little bit because I want to see more new stuff before we start getting the Jak and Daxter HD remastered in 1080p edition for PlayStation 4 and Ratchet and Clank PS3 trilogy remastered for PlayStation 4. And I know I'm being a little facetious with that, and I really hope that's not the case. But it's just with PlayStation Now coming right up, realistically they're not going to throw. Square's going to give them the okay to throw Tomb Raider in there right off the bat. So I guess that's why I'm a little bit more okay with that than whereas Last of Us is being pumped up as, this is the game for the service right off the bat. If we're limited to, X amount of games, if not, then that might reshape my opinion.
See, I don't see how any of this stuff contradicts each other. From a business perspective, it makes sense. From a service perspective, it makes sense. From a client purchasable demand perspective, it makes sense, right? And it's not like they said, hey, we have this fantastic idea sitting on the shelf. People are going to love it, but let's not do anything with it. Instead, let's take these assets that we already had developed and let's push them all together and release The Last of Us on PS4. This is something that I thought is part of the total package. They didn't recreate the game. lot of these assets were already put in place that they just essentially refined.
This for over a year.
Yeah. So
since the PS3 release of the game.
Yeah. So they're not taking anything away from us. Again, this is just another offering as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? For the love of gaming, the industry, this is a good thing. And as long as there's people to enjoy it and purchase it, having no problem with it. The industry will demand what it wants, and then smart developers and providers will give that to them.
And here's the thing: is the bottom line comes down to our individual opinions on it. Like it's nice to see these things. It's nice to see when kind of an overlooked franchise like Zone of the Enders got an HD re-release on the PlayStation 3. Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, got a re-release on the PlayStation 3 in high definition. But it wasn't like, here it wasn't like God of War 2 came out. Then the next year it was released in HD on the PlayStation 3. I guess that's more of becoming my issue, and especially with the launch of the PlayStation Now and the DMC. I'm not arguing against any of your points, but it's the same reason they didn't announce it. Back when it came out for the PS3, they didn't want to cannibalize their sales on the PS3 version. So your biggest draw right off the bat for PlayStation Now, granted, I could be like 16 miles off base here, depending on all the games that it offers or doesn't offer from the get-go. But The Last of Us was looking to be poised as this is the game, and I see what Cody's point is, as far as it gives them a chance to see their engine, tweak their engine for the next gen. But I would think they'd be doing that with Uncharted, with Uncharted 4 that's in development, and getting that worked out. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes of the technical aspect. We can only speculate based off of the information they give us.
What's your thought, Flips?
I'm not against it. I wasn't against Tomb Raider. I'm not as passionate either way. It is what it is. As long as it doesn't take away from Uncharted 4. So,
it's got priorities right.
Which I don't think it will. But it seems like it's two separate teams. So
yeah,
I would have preferred to see a sequel or a different IP or something else pop up, but I'm not against it. I'm going to play it again. I don't think we need to go through and re-release everything on the PS4 that was on the PS3. I think every time I see one of those conversations pop up, hey, we need Grand Theft Auto on PS4, I just...
By the way, which is coming?
Probably.
You believe me? Yeah.
The other big one I always see is Skyrim. It's just like these games we've already played these games. We've got, as it is right now, there's not enough hours in the day to play everything I want to play, so playing things twice doesn't really appeal to me too much. But if it's a game that I really enjoyed, like The Last of Us, I'll probably end up playing. But that's the reason I didn't play Tomb Raider, because I really liked it the first time, but I didn't like it enough to warrant playing it through again.
Well, fortunately for me, I didn't play it on the PS3, so it worked out perfectly.
Right. See, if I was in that same boat, then I definitely would have picked it up.
But I can tell you, if I did all the things I needed to do on the PS3 for that, I wouldn't have picked it back up.
Yeah. I think they're trying to appeal to a different audience, not necessarily people who have played it on the previous consoles. I mean, it'll dip into that audience, people who want to see the upgrades, see how much better it could look. Because I thought that was really interesting with Tomb Raider. I was watching people live stream it and play it, and it looks like a completely different game. But I think people who've already played it the majority of people who've already played the game aren't going to pick it up. But there's a ton of people who now have a PS4 that weren't part of the PlayStation ecosystem in the past that missed out on this game because they went from 360 to PS4, which is a thing that happened quite a bit. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really passionate either way. I don't really care. Like,
one thing I'd really like to see them do with it is release it where you could buy the multiplayer separate of the single player. Like, I would really like to see them do that.
Yeah. I think what you're doing is touching on something that's probably shared by a lot of other people. You're the first person I heard said that, but thinking about it, you're right. There's a lot of folks that just probably is digging to enjoy that multiplayer. I mean, quite frankly, I am too. I'm going to go through the story again because I just want to see everything. But I'm really salivating over that multiplayer.
You still have it for PS3. Pop it in and play it.
I sure do, but now I get to wait and let it marinate, right? I just got a few more months.
That is all we've got for the news, all the new releases, all the upcoming releases for next week. We haven't done trophy stats. Not a huge week, like I said. Most of us were kind of taking a break after these atrocious games that we were playing. My guys already popped up, so let's just start with you. Last week you had 14 platinums, 2,889 trophies, and what does that say? I can't see that. 52% at level 17?
I don't think anything's really changed, except I've added like 3 more trophies.
Plus another 7. Yeah. I think most of our cards are going to look pretty similar to this. Mine, I've got 53 platinums, 4190 trophies, 10% level 23. Now I'm sitting at... I got more trophies than I thought I got. I don't know if that's right. That's weird. It says 58, but...
Wow, man.
I don't know where that would have came from. We got the, like 6 or 7 from The Wolf Among Us. And I played a little bit of The Hobbit, but there was only like 9 trophies, and then... Maybe the rest of them did come from The Witcher and the Hundred Knight, and they were just spread out and didn't feel like a lot. But anyway, that's the one platinum I got was The Witcher and the Hundred Knight, which made me not want to play PlayStation for a while. So that happened. Then DMC, 4,128 trophies. Level 22, 78%. 65 platinums. Which is going to go up to 68 here pretty soon. I can't believe you haven't had sound shapes already. I heard that and I was devastated. Just have to work even harder to catch up to you. Anyway, now you're sitting at 4136, which I don't think is right because I know you played Destiny of Spirits and The Wolf Among Us, and that was not 8 trophies, so it should have been more than that. I don't know.
You know what's going to be awesome is that's going to be extra padding for next week.
Yeah. That's one way to look at it. Still got my trophy lead on you, though.
Yeah, I'm never going to catch up. It's okay.
Good. I just had to catch up.
Good. You said good.
Alright. That is it. That wraps up Trophy Chasers Podcast episode 12, unless there's anything else you guys wanted to mention.
No, I'm good. For those who haven't experienced The Last of Us multiplayer, I think they're one of the few sidebar multiplayer components in a game that's done perfectly right. It is extremely fun. It is very much team-based. It's community-based. You know what? It almost has let me know what you guys think. It almost has that old school SOCOM feel where you feel like you're actually, when you have other people that knows how to play with you, it is a ball, win or loss. The communication is so, when done well, it's so fun.
We'll have to do some community game nights and have our Trophy Chasers Podcast team.
How awesome would that be?
Versus the stream.
You get to see where the original Red Dead revolver came from, and that's Mike. Mike introduced me to the revolver in that game, and he was just one-shotting people in the head. But yeah, that'll be awesome, guys. I really do look forward to that.
That'd be fun. Another one I want to do that with is Evolve. I think that'd be fun to try to.
Yes. You know, I'm just surprised. I didn't know who's the developer that's doing that. What's their name?
Valve.
Yep.
Is Valve? No.
Yeah.
No.
It's the people that made Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Is it Valve?
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought somebody else, but that game seems pretty ridiculous. And it's a 4-player co-op, right?
4 versus 1.
4 versus 1, and you're going after the beast. Yeah, looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Anyway, that wraps up our show. Be sure to follow the stream if you're not already. We record this podcast live every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. You can always follow me on Twitter to be notified when the show goes live. Also, whenever I'm live streaming other games, that's at Fliptriq. Also, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Just wanted to mention it again. April 30th, I'll be doing the Child's Play charity event. 24-hour live stream on this channel. So if you want to come by and support the charity, it'd be much appreciated. But that'll be April 30th. So
I'll be here supporting the charity. I'm looking forward to you guys coming as well.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for checking out the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And we will see you next week.
Peace.